Hi, my name is Seth Gamba. I'm a bass player and teacher in the Atlanta area, and this video is going to be about number 2 in Simandl's 30 Etudes for Double Bass. I'm going to cut over right now to a performance of it, and then after that we'll come back and talk through it a little bit, some technical and musical things, and I hope this ends up being helpful for you. All right, so I hope you enjoyed that. Hope you found it helpful. Got to talk through a couple of things about this. It's something that shows up as a all-state audition excerpt in the state of Georgia from time to time. So anyway, maybe if you find yourself preparing this for an audition or just working on it because you're working out of this book, hopefully you'll find this all helpful. Okay. So, a couple things to start off. Andante con moto, which is a brisk walk. Not really fast, but it's not exactly slow either. The main thing to know about this one is that it's a bunch of F scales. And if you didn't notice that straight off the bat, then you need to practice more F scales. And that's really the number 1, 2, 3, and 4 thing about this. Is you've got to be really, really solid on your 2-octave F scale. If you don't do that without thinking about it, then this one is going to give you a ton of trouble. You have got to practice that F scale over and over and over again. Work on getting it fast, work on doing it slow with great tone, work on doing it quick to get these shifts up and down the G string. You've got to be able to work it at least up to the speed of the thing. That's got to be easy for you. Until that's easy for you, you're going to have a really hard time with this. So that's the first thing. Practice F scales. The second thing that really shows up as a challenge in this is bow distribution. And a lot of bowing things about really keeping your tone, because it's so much in the low stuff, and it crosses over the G string, it gets on up towards the end into a few of these higher notes, C's and D's in those last couple of lines. You've got to be very, very aware of what you're doing with the bow and what your different strings require. The low strings, a little closer to the fingerboard, slower speed, more weight. To go here, if you do this F on the D string the same way, that's the same bow stroke I just used down here. Sounds great on my low F. Close to the fingerboard, a little bit heavy, not very much bow speed. Same thing here. Not too nice. There's the tone quality on the D string. Moving down a little bit further away from the fingerboard, a little bit more bow speed. There's my tone. And that's something to be very, very aware of as you're moving across the strings from your low F to your high F, a little bit up onto the G string, being very aware of your bow placement, bow weight, and bow speed to keep your tone even throughout it. Next thing, half note, quarter note, half note, quarter note. How are you going to avoid overplaying those quarter notes to try and make up the bow? We don't want that, right? So what are you going to do with the bow to make sure that the half notes and the quarter notes stay even in tone? Sorry, I messed up my bowing. One more try. So I don't know if it shows up too well in the camera, but I do my half note down bow. On the up bow, there's a little mini release. So I'm going to use the first maybe this much of the bow to really establish the note. Then I'm going to really lighten up on the weight, and with just a little bit of hair in contact with the string, I'm going to follow through. So I'll do that one more time. See if you can see that happen here in context. So I don't know if you could see it a little bit that I'm really only using the first part of that bow stroke to really play the note. Then I'm lightening up. I'm trying not to let the hair leave the string. I'm not lifting, but I'm lightening up once the string is vibrating to follow through to make sure I don't end up running out of bow or overplaying the up bows. That's something you deal with in quite a few spots in this, is you have the 2 counts down, 1 count up. So you want to be careful about that. Let's see. Yeah, other main issues in this, couple of little fingering things. Second line up from the end. Yeah, I find that my students will frequently get confused about this spot having to do the second position. Yeah, a lot of kids will try to go, they're sitting on the B flat at the end of the line before. So 3 lines up, last note, B flat, half position. And they'll come right back to a 4th finger C, and now you're stuck with this 4th finger to 4th finger across 2 shifts, across 2 strings shift, which really screws everybody up when they try to do it. Shift here, get the octave in the hand. So 1st finger to 4th finger across the string always gives you an octave. After that octave, you could come back to 1st finger F, but then you've got 1st finger to 1st finger across the string, which is a shift best avoided. So after the high C, I'm going to come on back to 2nd finger F and get ready for the F and A that are right next to each other here. I think that works out much, much better. And when I work on this with students, once they get the hang of that fingering, they do it much better than the stuff that they tend to come up with on their own. When you get to this scale passage at the end, because that's the thing, you get to that scale passage at the end, and that's what makes or breaks the whole thing. When it shows up on an audition, that's what we're looking to see. Can you play those fast F scales and be accurate? First thing, realize again, it's just F scales. My students will frequently have trouble jumping down to the low note as the scales stagger up. Getting down to that G, then coming down to that A. The thing to consider is if you can really think of it in terms of its unit of F scale. So when I'm reading this, once I hit that low F, last 2 measures of the next to last line, I'm not looking anymore. I'm looking ahead. I'm seeing what note I'm jumping down to, because I know it's 3 counts worth of 8th notes in a D scale. I'm already thinking ahead to the G. Once I start on this G, I know I'm going up the F scale. I'm already thinking ahead to the A. When you practice it, you're probably going to want to practice it playing up to the jump and then stopping. Just practice that a bunch of times. Start on that G, go to the next spot. Practice that a bunch of times, then try and put it all back together, and I think you'll find that those jumps are a lot less confusing, because that's one of the spots where students really tend to get a little bit messed up. One more thing to consider fingering-wise, once you get up to the high F, and again, you're only going to get there if you've really spent time practicing your F scales. When you're coming down that last scale, go on to half position. I know it's possible, and some people would like to go ahead and just do a second finger B flat. So you can come on down here. All that in first position might be a little more comfortable for you than the half position with its bigger reach and reliance on the slightly weaker fourth finger. But if you go on back to half position, here, you're not stuck with a shift on that last note. I think it ends up being a cleaner fingering once you've got the hang of it. But anyway, I think those are the main things that I thought were important in this, that I find students really trip up on a lot of the times. Bow weight, bow speed, bow placement, to get the difference in tone between your various strings. How to deal with that half note, quarter note, half note, quarter note all the time. A couple of fingering issues, and really just practice your F scale. No substitute for just playing tons and tons of F scales all at different speeds. Anyway, so I hope you found that helpful. If you enjoyed this video, if you did find it helpful, please leave me a comment, like the video, and subscribe to my channel. Thank you.